Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's discuss the HCL interview automation testing questions along with the answers. So these are the round one interview questions and the skill stack required for this job role is Selenium, rest assured knowledge and BDD and framework level knowledge and automation testing knowledge and manual testing concepts and agile concepts. Okay, so the candidate has been selected in the interview, and this interview experience are for the range of 3 to 7 plus years of experience. Okay, so let's get started with the first question along with answer. Your automation scripts are working locally but failing in the client environment. What steps you are going to approach or what step you are going to take? Okay, so the interview ready answer that you can provide to the interviewer is check the environment differences. You can compare the OS version, browser versions, Java dependencies, and configurations. And then validate the test data and URLs. Here you need to ensure you can tell them that we can ensure correct endpoints and credentials and environment specific data are properly used. And then we can review the logs and reports by analyzing the failure screenshots and console logs. And we can handle the synchronization issues by replacing the hard waits with proper explicit waits. Uh, might be because sometimes client environment may be slower. And check access and for permissions. Verify the firewall, VPN, and API access restrictions and try to reproduce in the client-like setup in the test environment. Try running the test in staging or remote environment similar to the client environment. Okay, so this is how you can answer your interviewer. And then next question goes like client asks for quick automation setup within 1 week as soon as you join. How will you approach it? Okay, so you can give the interview ready answer like if the client asks for quick automation setup in 1 week, we can focus on the prioritization. That's we can understand the scope quickly by identifying the critical flows and supported platforms and we can choose lightweight tech stack as proven tools. We already know Selenium and TestNG or rest assured for API with the minimal setup, and we can build the basic setup. I mean framework setup, and by using page object model pattern, utility classes we can create, and we can use the simple reporting tools. And then we can automate the high priority test cases first, like login, checkout, and wherever the business critical scenarios are available and parallel execution plus continuous integration setup in case if the time permits, okay, for quicker execution. And then keep it scalable, which means we can try to write a code in clean way and we can make use of that code for further use. I mean, we can write a reusable code. Okay, so this is how we can answer the client, interviewer in the for the second question. And then the third question goes like you inherent a poorly written automation framework from the existing project. So how are you going to improve? Or what are the improvements will you make first as soon as you identify? And how would you handle the last minute production defects? How do you manage communication with the client when automation script fails? How do you handle test execution when application performance is low? How do you design scripts that work across multiple environments without changes? How would you identify and eliminate redundant test cases in automation? What approach do you follow to debug failed test cases quickly? How do you validate UI elements that change based on the user roles? And how do you handle file uploads or downloads in the automation? How do you maintain a framework when multiple testers contribute simultaneously? And then the next question you can expect like how do you handle code conflicts in automation repository? And how do you handle test case versioning and backward compatibility? And how do you enforce coding standards in automation projects? And how do you validate API failures in production like environments? How do you test the APIs when dependent services are not available? And how do you handle test data cleanup after the API execution? How do you validate data consistency across the multiple services, microservices? And how do you test APIs under different user roles or permissions. Write a logic to remove the duplicate characters from the given string. So guys, this is purely a Java based program. They might ask you to write and execute and show. Okay, and then how do you handle null pointer exception in automation framework? Explain how you would log meaningful errors for debugging in the script. Okay, and then they might ask you to write a function to validate if two strings are anagrams. How do you validate how do you optimize the memory usage in large test execution? And how do you ensure framework is easy for a new team members to understand quickly? And how do you design a framework with minimum maintenance efforts? Okay, so these are the interview questions asked in HCL for the role of SDET or automation tester. For a senior position, please be thorough with all the interview questions. For answers for all the interview questions, I have provided a link in the description box and also in the comment box. This is the ultimate end-to-end QA master kit where you can find the answers for all the interview questions and for end-to-end company-wise and topic-wise study materials and interview questions along with detailed answers with AI included. Artificial intelligence driven testing concepts are also included. Please go through and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching my video. Happy learning, happy journey.